Alright, okay. So, a few things have changed to the platform since the last stream. Number one, it's gone through a branding change. It went from just being this blog engine called Flog to kind of this whole crazy, all inclusive custom framework from scratch that I call Cold Fusion now. Very proud of the work that's gone into it. Um, and let's just get this thing running, right? So we'll just copy that. Okay, so here's Cold Fusion in action. Just using the built-in PHP server, nothing crazy. However, one of my favorite new additions actually came in today, where we used the PS4 autoload feature. So I was able to clean up all of the include onces all across the site, and still works just brilliantly. Now you'll notice down here that require is empty. We are still we've been still trying vehemently to create this thing without introducing a third party package of any kind. But I've come to the conclusion after much soul searching that if I were to include just one, it would probably be a template engine. We could just use PHP natively. I mean, that's not a big deal, and that's in fact what we've been doing so far, right? So we have our views, we've got our header, got our pages, which require once headers and footers. It's all very classic. We could probably introduce some helpers to say include, to say like it's some helper functions to include stuff. Is my voice not coming through? It shows that it is. Okay, well anyways. So, we've been using PHP native templates. And this works. It's just kind of gross. PHP, I mean, it works. It does the job. It gets the HTML out there. But it's not. I don't know. It's not my favorite. I don't like this. I don't like doing includes like this. I find it can get messy and unfortunate. What I really do like is what Twig does, what Jinja does, what Django templates do, and that's inheritance. And I've been struggling to understand exactly how I wanted to go about it, and I did think about it, creating basically a half-baked Twig render engine from scratch, which would have been fun, which would have been interesting and very much something that I personally need to learn a lot more about, which is tokenization, uh, parsing, just parsing a custom language effectively. Um, that's something I really wish to explore one day, but it's just so all-encompassing. It's just so big. It's such a big project in of itself to create a template engine that isn't just the native built-in one. So if I were to include a template engine, if I had to include one vendor package, it would definitely be a template engine, just because of how big it is and how important it is to have it working and have something right. So I did a quick Google search. I just said simple PHP template engines, because while I could just go ahead and install Twig, and I would have no problem with that. I love Twig. Twig's an excellent template engine. I kind of wanted something lightweight. And that's when I was scrolling down this list here. I saw Mustache. I mean, you can't get much more lightweight of a template engine than Mustache, and I thought that was pretty good. But then this one popped up, and I had never heard of it before. Plates. native PHP templates. And that just kind of got my interest, because I'm like, native PHP templates? I mean, that's already what PHP has. What is this? And basically, as I take a look through it, it's Twig, but in PHP. And I love that idea. But let's just quickly take a look through here. There's Blade. There's Volt. Looks alright. Smarty. I mean, I'd probably sooner drink bleach than use Smarty ever again. But Twig shows up on the list, obviously. One of the best. Never heard of Latte before. The safest and truly intuitive templates for PHP. Kind of the things that I'm noticing here, and one of the big things about plates that piques my interest. See, when this is not native PHP, so you have to parse it, right? It's a custom language, so there has to be a compiler, an interpreter, and a compiler. And in Twig's case, as fast and awesome as it is, it's still being tokenized, it's still being parsed, it's still being rendered, it's still being cached to the file system effectively in order to keep it fast. So that's why you get all this syntax sugar, is because it's this whole subsystem of parsing an entirely different language, and then behind the scenes it's compiling that down into what is effectively a cached bare metal PHP file that gets included. So this is what really has my interest with plates, because we get to skip the compilation process, and it just gets to be PHP being PHP. So that has my interest the most. So if we go over into GitLab here, GitLab GitHub, right, I just kind of want to visit the actual site, which is the documentation. First thing I wanted was inheritance, right? Well, I mean, it doesn't get any easier than this. I mean, it basically just functions exactly like Twig would, right? So you have your base template.php. Here's your base template. Then, under whatever other file you want, whatever this view is supposed to be for profiles, you just say this layout. You point to the template, you give it the file name, you give it whatever variables you want for the scope, which is used here, and that's it. Then you have your blocks. Here's your page block, right? Here's your section, right? Here's your blocks. And it overrides them. It's simple, right? Like this right here. Here's the section, page, right? Start page. Here's the stuff to inject into that section. It's all very easy to read. Just absolutely brilliant. I just love that. Now I wonder though, and it'll probably show me underneath layouts or sections, or maybe even nesting, I don't know, we'll see, that like one of the cool things about Twig is that you can define a block and have default content in there between the block definition and end, and it will always show up like that unless overridden. Here it just looks like we're defining a section at a particular portion and then overriding it later. So let's maybe go find out if you can define a section with content in between. Okay, so creating sections. Okay, so you can just go start and stop. Okay, so that creates a section with your default content, stacking section content, push scripts, push and unshift. Okay, by default, when you render a section, its content will overwrite anything. However, it's possible to just append or prepend with push or unshift. Okay, so that's cool. So you don't have to override a whole block. You can just say, here, add this to the end of it, or add this to the top of it. Okay, that's really neat. That's a really cool feature. default section content. Okay, so you can define the section in line and then fetch the content of another template file to be the default in line. If the default content requires more than a single line of code, it's best to use a simple if statement to check if a section exists. Otherwise, display the default. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, so if sidebar exists, right? If this is sidebar, then use it. Otherwise, here's the default. Interesting. Well, I mean, I'm already convinced. If I'm being honest with you, and that wasn't hard. Let's check out layouts here. So it should be pretty simple, right? We just say, just layout, choose a file, stacked layouts. Plates allows stacking of layouts, allowing even further simplification and organization of templates. Instead of just using one main layout, it's possible to break templates into more specific layouts, which themselves implement a main layout. Consider this example. So we have our base template, then we've got the blog layout, and then we're using the blog layout as well, and overriding the portions necessary. So that's Twig, right? That's Twig. All right. So nesting, including another template into the current template, is done using the insert function. Okay, so that's how you include partials. Cool. The insert function also works with folders. What? Hold on. What? Folders. Folders makes it really easy to organize and access your templates. Folders allow you to group your templates under different namespaces, each of which having their own file system path. What? Okay. That's pretty neat. Okay. Okay. Themes. I was just going to say you could use folders for different themes, but it looks like they got theming built in. An alternative to template path resolution that allows for holistic approach to template overrides and fallbacks. Wow. Yeah, okay. This logic is used instead of the directories and folders. Huh. Wow. I mean, sorry, that's just really neat. I'm just kind of blown away there. Okay, extensions. All right. Okay, so this very much feels in line with Twig. So you register some functions, and then you just map them to, like, it's pretty much exactly the same, right? Register function, there's your name that you can use somewhere in the template, and then you map that to a function from an instance of some kind. So now let's see how we use it. To use the extension in your template, simply call this. Okay, so just this uppercase. Okay. They can also be used in a batch compatible function. The hell does that mean? Batch? Batch function call. Sometimes you need to apply more than one function to a variable in your template. This can become somewhat illegible. The batch function helps by allowing you to apply multiple functions, including native ones, to a variable at one time. So that, okay, so this I mean, okay, so we would just call these filters. That's interesting. That's an interesting approach. Single method extensions, yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah, load extensions. This is all super simple. I mean, like, this is all very easy to read. It may be desirable to access the engine or template objects. I mean, sure. Alright, simple example, yeah. Yeah, just new engine, path the templates, and then just render the file, yeah. Oh. Wow, I mean, this just looks really cool. Data. Let's see what that means. Oh, okay, so this is just like these things. Yeah, okay, just the scoped data. Assigned directly to a template object. Templates make profile. The hell's make mean? Accessing data. Okay, just like that. Yep, okay. I mean, that's basically just unwrapping variables into a scope. Like, that's all native PHP. Like, that's basic stuff there. Okay, so we got some basic extensions in here. Let's see what we got. So, assets. JavaScript files and blah, blah, blah. So, they want it to look like this asset. Okay. All right, so it's got some cache busting features to it. Quickly create, yeah, cache busted asset URLs in the templates. This is particularly helpful. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I get it. The URI extension. URI checks within template easier. Okay. The most common use is marking the current page in a menu as selected. Oh, okay. All right. Laravel provider. Interesting. Okay. I mean, not that I needed further convincing, but yeah, I'm good. This looks excellent to me. Okay, so it's still maintained. To less, but I mean, what else is there to maintain, really? I mean, it's a like, even how big is this? Like, it doesn't look like it would be that like. This is a very light library. Wow. Yep. Template data. Okay. I mean, interesting. Okay. I know I'm just kind of like being a broken record here, but like this is a very light library, man. Like this cannot be very big in size. Let's see exactly how big it is. 53K. I mean, that's the compressed. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here. Play it. Alright, here we go. Source 34K uncompressed. That's it. That's so tiny. For brevity, let's go ahead and just check out the release of Twig. Oh yeah, they don't do that. Just download the zip here. Yep. Okay, already like the archive is 179 kilobytes. It does not exactly bode well. Alright, the raw source code to this is 463 kilobytes uncompressed. There's so much more complexity to this. Yeah. No, I'm that's it for me, man. I mean, that's really all I need. Okay, so let's go ahead and install it. We have our server here. Composer require. Let's see, installing, and that's it. It didn't even have any other dependencies. Of course it wouldn't. What other dependencies would it need? So it's oh wow, okay, it is so light. It doesn't need anything else to function. No other third-party dependencies. I am starring you. All right. Well, I mean, let's not eat my words here. Let's check it out. So league play. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the only dependency installed. Wow. I keep getting more and more impressed with this. I mean, it's again, it sucks in general that I'm installing a library, but you know what? Here's the interesting thing. As cool as this is, and as light as this is, what we can do at this point is if we really like what we see, we can just browse the source code and really learn how it's doing certain things, and then maybe we write our own. You know? We can always do that. Just like, hey, we really like this thing. Let's see what we can do if we did our own style. Like for example, I don't really enjoy the batch thing, like the way that's set up. That almost seems like a bit of a hack. For example, um, it's neat. I'm glad they provide it, but nonetheless, we could probably improve that interface. I would say, but nonetheless, neither here nor there. There's different approaches that I would take to certain things if I were to write this myself, but I kind of need to see it in action before I can start dissecting it, right? Okay, so let's start installing this thing. So we got our bootstrapper here. Now we might have to write something into the core. Let's see here. So we got our config.php. You know what? In here, we're going to set up the okay. Post render post. Okay. Yeah, am I right? Oh, okay. So I did sit here and hard code it like a noob. All right. Okay. So I mean, to get it running, right, is pretty simple. The documentation was pretty clear about that. All we really needed to have it installed was we just define an engine, a new engine instance, and then we define a new engine instance, and then we point it to the path of our templates, which we already know the path of, and then during the base controller render, we're just going to swap out and use templates renderer rather than the current one that I have. So if we really wanted to hack this right now, I mean, this isn't how I'm going to propose that we go about it. Hold on. Let's see here. It might want me to do this in a constructor. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'll actually go as template engine. Right. Template engine equals null, and then we'll do what? No. We'll call it new template engine, and then we'll have this directory here. We'll make that. We'll probably make that a bit more configurable later. And we'll go this template engine equals that. All right. Now during the render sequence, all we got to do is swap out this. So we already have the view name, we got the data and all that stuff. Okay, so response. And then we'll just do this template engine. Whoops. And what was it called? Just render. Yeah. We'll give it the view. We'll give it the data. That should be good. Oh. Yeah. Okay. We'll probably want to put in some, like, if the file exists and stuff like I did up here. But for now, let's just kind of see what happens. It is just native PHP. We'll have to run our server again. Render. Okay. Okay, so yeah, because it is just native PHP, it seems to have taken, and because that's all we were using was native PHP, so it looks like it ran. Now let's intentionally break it, just as a sanity check. Let's just intentionally break it, and let's go. We'll just append like a 2 to this, for example, and refresh. Ah, see, broke it. So it is getting here. We can be sure of that. Refresh. There we go. We know it is indeed using this. So that's pretty cool. Now we should be able to just kind of start using those features, right? So let's go into views and we'll just go new file, and we'll go base dot template.php. You know what, we'll rename that. Get rid of the template bit here. Want to reduce the amount of potential issues, right? So let's go ahead and testing. All right, and then our home page, which we are on, we will comment those out. Refresh. We should only see like the middle area. Yeah, no styling. Perfect. Let's go PHP. Now let's make sure we got that syntax correct. Layout. Okay. This layout. Base. Refresh. Testing. Ha! It works. Amazing. Really couldn't have been simpler. Alright, okay, well let's okay, in this base template we have that now. So now let's go this, and we'll call it section, I guess. And we'll just say content. And then that should mean that under our home here, let's make sure we got the syntax right. Looking up here, sections, and then to use it, yeah, just start. So that creates a section, right? This start, welcome, yep. And this inline is just access rendered section content using the name you assigned in the start method. Sorry, what can we access? Huh. Okay. Defining the timeline of this section. You know what? Again, we're going to go ahead and just whoops. This stop. Right. Okay. Yep. I should be overridden. Okay. Now, we should have the text that just says I should be overridden. Oops. Where did we mess up? section name content is reserved. Oh. Oh, really? Okay, well that could have been nice to know. Refresh. I mean, it's blank. Okay, well let's get some new output. Refresh. Alright. Hello test. Alright, okay. So we're going to go with this welcome thing. Refresh. Okay. Oh, not header. Yeah. Too many files open. Let's clear that up. So we got our base. We got our start section. Welcome home. We'll call this this. Access rendered section. Default section content. Right. If sidebar, then use sidebar. I don't know if my server's allowed to use that. It's not liking something. Oh wait. Don't we have to still do that? No, okay, didn't matter. Sanity, refresh. Okay, welcome, hello. Okay, well, if this portion doesn't work, I mean, this kind of falls right dead in the water, right? So unless I'm using this wrong, so maybe we check out this, just kind of copy that out. We're using layout base. We'll just say welcome, welcome, right? Ooh. Is it because of this? Is it like really not liking that, for example? Unfortunately, I'm not getting any like error output here. This layout base, yeah. Let's do this. Okay, and then under home, we're going to say name. Oh, okay, that worked. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, so that worked. Let's see what we did here. So we defined the section content here. Under home, we have base. Oh, because remember it said that there was a predefined, a reserved content section. Mm. Hold on, let's kind of go back to this. Okay, so section content, refresh. There we go. All right. Okay. I mean, that's still a bit weird. Not sure what I think about the default section of content there. But okay. So we got our header, right? Got this. Let's put this in here. Body. And then we got our footer. And we'll put that below content. Okay, so we have that. Now we have our home, layout, base, content, refresh. They should make our site look normal, and it does. So now I no longer need this footer header stuff. I can even go equals this E title, page title. We'll just go like that. Right. Oh. Okay, and refresh, and that should be nothing. Okay. But if I were to go home and I were to go page title equals blog roll, sure. It should show up in the title, and it does. All right. Okay. So now we're rocking. We are having good times now. We are making content. So not a total wash, but let's go ahead and explore it a little bit further, right? Because there's some things here. Let's for example, this start scripts. This end. Okay. And then let's just go start like this start, and we'll call it test, or just test, I guess. Right, PHP this, and this stop. All right, so I have I'm just gonna say section test 2. Let's see what happens there. All right, this should still work. Nothing should change. All right. So the JavaScript and all that still works. View page source, and I should be able to look down here. Unless the JavaScript was taken out, which it looks like it was. Maybe I'm just not understanding what start and end are supposed to do. I thought they would be more like defining the blocks, right? Okay. Well, let's we're in our home now. We can get rid of these guys. This start, and we'll go test. See if we can add some content to it. Yes, and test. So that should be right at the bottom. The word test. Refresh. Nope. Test. Nope. Oops. Interesting. Okay. Right. Section content. Well, I mean the section content is a built-in thing, right? Templates make home. Render directly, yeah, that's what we want. Overview. Oh. Check if a template exists. Get a template path. Okay. Layouts. Assign data, accessing content. This will return all outputted content for the template that hasn't been defined in a section, right? Okay. Insert. Section content. Alright, so all this, what it's saying is that all this would wind up here in between these article tags. What I want to learn is inheritance. You define the name of the section with the start function to end a section, call stop. That makes sense to me. Stacking section content. Accessing section content. Access rendered section content using the name you assigned in the start method. This variable can be accessed from the current template and layout template using the section function. Inheritance. Right, so this section sidebar, fetch default sidebar. So, yeah. So they defined a section page right there. So, okay, so you oh! Is that what it is? Okay. Okay. Alright, so, okay. Well, if I'm now getting that right, so if I section test 2 here, and then I do start test 2, refresh. Still nothing. Unless it's somewhere else. Nope. Where do you go? Okay. This section, and we'll call it page title. Okay, so page title should have nothing in it. And it should be below the main wrapper. should be right there. But it's not. Yes, it is. Yeah, main wrapper, main dash wrapper. There we go. And then we got this CTA section, which is this guy. Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. Okay. 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 All right. All right. Okay. It was page title. We called it page title. Yeah. H1 test. Refresh. There it is. All right, we're getting somewhere. All right. Okay. Oh, you know what? Oh, I need to see something. I need to see something. Yeah, so start, stop are not equals. Section is equals. So that's outputting. That's outputting. That's outputting. That makes sense. Excuse me. Okay. So okay. So is what it's saying then if I did this? Because the question is always what if, right? This start scripts, right? And then we did a this and right. Now if I go ahead and do that, then the scripts disappear. They do. But if I were to go, or sorry, equals this section scripts. There's my scripts. Now in here, if I were to go, whoops, this start scripts, this end, and let's say we only just wanted the one. No, it didn't like that. What about this append thing? There was a way to append. Push, that was right. Right, and then end, yeah, okay. So push scripts. So we should actually get this duplicated. Refresh. And we don't. If I were to do that. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Alright, define the output of scripts, and then we start overriding it. Wait, no, this was supposed to be push. Okay. But if I were to get rid of that, no. See, I'm still just trying to understand how to define a block with default content in it in a way that it likes. Oops. Right, so if this section scripts section scripts. Yeah, just PHP else. All right, refresh. Okay. That's good. That's good. Let's get rid of it. We should have both now. We do. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Now if I did push instead, we should see 3 lines. We don't. Okay. Unshift. We still don't. Okay. I mean, those are cool, but not necessary. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I think I understand how this reads now. So, if section exists, as in the variable scripts has been defined in some portion of the inherited chain, then at this portion demonstrate it. Otherwise, eschew this HTML. So that's how we do default now. So we could do the same thing for the excuse me, the page title. Right, and we can just do this. We can go H1. This is a title. This is a test. Refresh. This is a test. This is a test. But if I were to call it page title 2, we should have the default now. This is a title. Perfect. Oh yeah. It's all coming together now. Okay, so if I were to write my own, very first thing that probably need to change is this weirdness. There's probably a very good reason why they did it that way, but it feels a bit backward. I feel like you should be able to define blocks arbitrarily, basically anywhere, without having to do this if-else nonsense. But that being said, I'm still extremely happy because this is all native PHP. None of this needs to be pre-compiled or cached. Just a simple, good, varnish HTTP cache in front of this page would work. But we did it. We did it, guys. We implemented the templating engine. In an interesting way. Alright, cool. So, I'm going to go ahead and commit that. Oop. Plates, template engine. Super simple. It's just when you work with something for so long, like I have with Twig for about 10 years, it can get difficult to kind of wrap your process around a slightly different process, especially if it's so similar. You expect it to function one way, but it then doesn't. See, like in Twig, right? You would go block. I don't know, scripts. Start block. And then like end block. Exactly. Jeez. Right, so you have your block, scripts, and then end block. Then you would just have this in it. And then in your other file, you would just do the same thing. Right, you go block, scripts, end block, and then you could do whatever you wanted, and that would override this. Like, it's really, really, really simple. And I feel that can be just as replicated here. Kind of having this section and then the start and end bit as separate things entirely feels backwards. Feels backwards in approach, but I also get it. So let's go ahead and convert the rest of this. All right, so we do have our scripts now. Unfortunately, we didn't get the push to work, and I wish I knew why. We don't need that. All right. Refresh. Oops. Oh, right. I thought I did something bad. Refresh. There we go. Okay, so now over in the post, I'm going to do that. Get rid of the footer, and we'll give it the post get title. And that should be pretty much it. And it totally worked. The page title is now that, and everything is functioning normally. So that was really easy to convert that page over. What's this? Right. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do that to the About page then too. Because in reality it should be pretty much just this. And we'll give it a unique name, About Me. We'll get rid of the footer. About Me. Yeah, there we go. Cool. And I think that should pretty much allow us security login. Oh. Right. Alright, and log in. Cool. Alright, so that's all the pages now converted over, so we can actually get rid of the footer and header. Oops, not that one. Alright, so About Me, blog host, blog home, another test. And test. Yep. It's working like a charm. We'll go ahead and apply this to the styles. We'll call it styles. And we'll do this. Okay. Yeah, there's really not much more to that, but we can try that asset out. Actually, hold on. Okay. By default, when you render a section, its content will overwrite any existing content for that section. However, it's possible to append the content instead using push or unshift methods, respectively. This can be useful when specifying any JavaScript libraries or CSS files that are required by your child view. Right. Okay. Alright, so then there was this asset thing. Okay, asset extension can be used to quickly cache bus URLs, installing it. Alright. The asset extension comes packaged with plates, but it's not enabled by default. It requires extra parameters. Path to public assets. Okay. Alright, so if I were to go to the base controller here, this template engine, and we'll say load extension, new asset, path to public assets. Okay. Alright, so we have the there we go. Oop. Ah. Alright, so there's that. Then in the base, well, let's make sure the page loads still. Alright, no problems there. And now we can go, now we can go this asset refresh. Okay. What happened? Oh, hold on. For aggressively cache files, potential changes such as JavaScript. It works by appending the timestamp of the file's last update to its URL. For example, becomes that. As long as the file does not change, the timestamp remains the same. However, if the file is changed, a new URL is automatically generated. Okay, yeah, but still, like, how was it supposed to... Oh, right, okay, so it needs this unique little rule to it. Okay, well, what if we did... Because we got rid of it. This is file name method, right? So, what if we just did that? What happens? Okay, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Refresh. Awesome. So there's the asset extension installed and ready to go. URI. Using HTTP. Oh yeah, HTTP Foundation. Get path info. Well, okay. Well, let's go ahead and load that extension. New URI. Yep, server path info. That's what I thought. There we go. Alright, let's refresh. Site still works. Undefined index path info. Okay, well, at least it was just a... Really? Vardump. Server. Die. server. I wonder if it's just because of the PHP built-in one. It's gotta be... What? Okay, what am I doing in my matcher here? Yeah, it is server. Okay. Script name. Request URI. Right. Still no path info. Okay, in my router, how are we matching here? Path info. Okay. Alright, about... Okay, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. So I've already got that, thanks to the engine. And we can just do that. Awesome. Alright, okay. So, we have the about me. We can go to a blog post. And see something interesting. Ugh, my voice is starting to get a bit hoarse. Okay. Now, over here in our post, get content. I should be able to. Let's see here. This URI slash. Get the whole URI. Okay, equals this URI. Okay, there's the URI. That's great. One. Post. There we go. Cool. I mean, it's an interesting little library. I don't know how useful that's going to be, except for what it means here. Check if a specific segment of the URI equals a given string. Yeah. Alright. Excuse me. Alright, I don't think there's much else to do at this point for this. I mean, we have the extensions working, we're using the asset plugin. I could create a custom function, I suppose, but I'd like to spend some time like really exploring that notion, right? But yeah, so this has been installing and figuring out plates. Plates template engine integrated and existing templates ported. Done. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on this one as we explore this interesting new bit of technology. I really like how light it is. There's not a whole lot going on under the hood. That's perfect. It aligns very well with what exactly I'm going for here. And honestly, like, I could see myself absolutely writing my own version of this at some point in the near future. So that'll be a stream, that's for sure. That's an idea for a future stream, is writing our own version of plates that's entirely custom. But I'm going to go ahead and play around with it a bit more on my own time, just to get a bit more familiar with it. Beyond that, I mean, it's pretty simple, but it does exactly what I wanted it to do. What I wanted was just to use native PHP templates, but I wanted to have overwritable blocks. I wanted that template inheritance. That's exactly what Plates offers. So I'm very stoked to have found it. Beyond that, that's it. That's pretty much it for me. So my name has been Kyle. Thank you so much for watching this far. I appreciate it, and I will hopefully see you next time. Thanks. Cheers.